In this video, I'm going to be running through the automated workflow system that's built into Mantis Property. Mantis Property's automated workflow system works just like a personal assistant that you can easily configure to perform tasks to run when certain conditions are met. You simply choose a trigger for when the workflow will run, and then you configure the tasks you want performed when the workflow runs. Some popular automated workflows may include sending a series of emails to people that attend an open home, letting active buyers know when a listing they're interested in has had a price reduction or price change, or sending an SMS to specific people when a new inspection time on a listing they're interested in is coming up. Automated workflows can be created and configured to run for your entire office, or they can be created by or for specific agents just to run within their own contacts database. To access the automated workflow system, just look on the left-hand menu where it says Automated Workflows. I'm going to walk you through creating an automated workflow to give you an idea of how easy it is. So here we'll just click Create New Automated Workflow. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is give the workflow a name. Now with this workflow, what we're going to be doing is setting up something so that whenever anybody checks in for an inspection, it sends out a series of emails to them over a certain period of time and also sends them a couple of SMSs. So we'll call this workflow Run on Inspection Check-in. Now here we select whether it applies to contacts and listings for everyone or just for specific salespeople. If salespeople log into their own account, then they can also choose whether they want the workflow just to run for them. Now the first part of a workflow is a trigger. So a trigger is basically something that happens in the system that will then start the workflow to run. So we've categorized everything into the most common categories of the functions of Mantis Property. So we've got contacts, appraisals, listings, inspections, and contracts. As we're going to be setting up this workflow to happen when someone checks in to an inspection, then we're going to select contacts because this relates to contacts. This then creates a new box here, trigger. The triggers relate to the trigger category that you've selected. So with contacts, we can get a workflow to run when a new contact is created, when a contact attends an open home, when a contact makes an inquiry on a listing, when they become a hot buyer, a warm buyer, a hot tenant, a warm tenant, a hot vendor, a warm vendor, or when they become a cold contact. So the good thing about the hot buyers, hot tenants, cold contacts and that sort of thing is that these happen automatically. So say for instance, if someone makes an inquiry on a listing, they automatically become a hot buyer straight away. If they don't have any activity in the database for 30 days, they automatically change from a hot buyer to a warm buyer. And then after 60 days, if still no activities happened, as in they haven't clicked on any emails, they haven't made any inquiries and no notes have been entered against them, then they'll become a cold contact. So you could actually set up an automated workflow to send out an email reminding people about yourself when they become a cold contact to try and encourage them to come back to you. But anyway, in this circumstance, what we're going to do is make it when a contact attends an open home. Then under here, we have the type. So you can set this workflow to run continuously, which means it will run every time a new contact attends an open home. If you set it to run once, then disable this automated workflow. The first time that it detects a contact attends an open home, it will run the workflow and then disable itself so it doesn't occur for anyone else. But it will leave the workflow in there in disabled state so you can re-enable it or you can edit it and do what you want. And then if you have a workflow that you just want to run just as a one-off, and then delete itself from the system, you can select this third option, run once, then delete the automated workflow. So you would use something like that, for instance, if you wanted something to go out about a pending auction on the last inspection date of a particular listing, and then you don't want that workflow to run anymore, you can select that. So we're going to set this to run continuously because we want this workflow to run every single time someone checks in to an open home. Then we click continue. This comes to the edit workflow screen. So basically what's happened here is it's created a workflow and it's set up the name, who it applies to, and also what the trigger category and the trigger is for it. It automatically sets the status to disabled because we know that you need to create the steps you want the workflow to run before you enable it. If you decide you want to come back and edit this workflow at any time, you'd simply click on Automated Workflows on the left and then click on View Edit Existing Automated Workflows. And this will give you a list of any automated workflows that are currently in the system. And it tells you whether they're enabled or disabled, what they are, who they're assigned to, and it also gives you some stats on the number of times that that workflow has been triggered since it was enabled. Up here, you can select whether you want to see the workflows for everyone if you're logged in as an admin or just for the particular salespeople. So we're going to go ahead and view and edit this one that we just created. Now down here, what happens is when a workflow trigger occurs, so in this instance, when someone attends an open home and is recorded in the inspection section as attending an open home, then this workflow will run and it will run any of the steps that you set up down the bottom here. So the first step that we're going to do is we're going to set it to send an SMS thanking them for attending the open home. So we click on Add New Step and then we select an action. There are 4 types of actions. You can select wait, which will tell the system to wait a certain period of time before running the next step. You can set the system to create a task, which will create the task to show up in your task manager on your dashboard. You can set it to send an email or send an SMS. So we're going to say send an SMS. This then opens up extra options underneath. So here we can say we want to send an SMS to the contact or the contact owner or all staff connected to the contact. The reason for this is if we set it to send to the contact, that can be, say, a thank you SMS to the contact, thanking them for attending the open home. But we also have the option here of sending an SMS to the contact owner to say a new contact has just attended one of your open homes. So say, for instance, if you have a salesperson and they have a number of open homes and they have assistants working on those open homes, they can get SMSs or email alerts whenever anybody's recorded in those open homes to keep track on them in real time. So here we're just going to select send to contact. And then in the message, we'll write a quick message here to just thank them for attending the open home. So here we've written a message, thank you for attending our open home today. For more information, please don't hesitate to contact me on, and a number. Now we click Add Step. As you can see down here, the first step is it's going to send an SMS and send it to the contact. If we decide that we don't want that step or we want to change that step, we can click on Edit here. That will bring up all the details, and then you can just make changes to it, including what the actions are, what the message is, anything you like, and click Save Step to save it, or you can click Delete if you want to remove that step from the workflow. The next step is we want it to wait for 24 hours, and then after that, send an email. So what we'll do is we'll click on Add New Step, we'll select Wait, and then over here, you can either select 24 hours or, to make it easier, 1 day. Click Add Step. This has created a second step where it will wait for 1 day. The time that it waits is basically from when the workflow runs. So say, for instance, if a contact checks in for an inspection at 12:30 in the afternoon on a Monday, then this wait time, it will send the SMS first at 12:30 as soon as they're checked in, and then it will wait till 12:30 the next day before moving on to the third step, which we're about to add. So the third step is going to be an email that just introduces them to the agency, maybe shows a couple of listings. So we click on action and then send an email. In the email subject, we type in whatever we want. Now in the content, we can just type something here. And in here, we can put in some generic information about the agency, about the salesperson, etc., whatever you want there. And we go down to add step. And now that's created a third step in the workflow. So as you can see here, when a contact is recorded as attending an open home, it will send them that welcome SMS first. Then it will wait exactly 1 day or 24 hours, and then it will send them an email with information about the agency. Now you can add as many steps as you want to a workflow. There's no restriction at all in Mantis Property to this. And you can also set wait times of whatever you want. So say for instance, if you wanted to make it so that it sends an email to someone 12 months after they've been entered into the database, you can set that. You just set your initial step as waiting 12 months and then set the next step as sending the email or the SMS to them. So this can be a great way to just automate a lot of things in your organization, to touch base with your contacts and automate some of the tasks that you would normally do manually to allow you to run your agency more efficiently and stay in touch with your contacts. Now on here, I'm going to add a fourth step, which is adding a task to the system. So in here, we click Add New Step, and we set Create a Task. This now allows us to set a task. So it may be, for instance, make a follow-up call to this person. So in here, we will type in follow-up call. And we might say we want this task to be due 1 day after this step is run. And then in the type, we set phone call, and we assign this to a specific salesperson. And we say, please call as they recently attended an inspection, and click Add Step. So now what it's going to do here is after it's sent them the email, it'll also set a task as a follow-up for the salesperson, Dave Mason, so that when he logs into the system, he can see that he needs to follow up that specific contact. One of the other cool features with this is once you've set up your steps, you can actually change the order of them by dragging and dropping them. So say for instance, if you wanted the automated task to run after 1 day and not send the SMS straight away, you can just click and drag that step to the position you want. That's automatically saved now. So now this automated task, as soon as it's triggered, it will wait 1 day before it sends the SMS and the email. Now I'm just going to run through some of the other triggers that you can use in the workflows because it's quite versatile. So we'll go back into automated workflows, create a new automated workflow. And in the trigger category, I'll just quickly run through them all. So I've run through the contacts triggers. If we go into appraisals, you can trigger a workflow to run when an appraisal has been created, when it's been sent, when it's been accepted, and when it's been rejected. So here, for instance, you could make it so it sets a task for a salesperson or someone in admin to perform a certain duty when a new appraisal is entered into the system. Or you could set it to send a thank you letter to someone as soon as they've accepted an appraisal. In listings, you can set a workflow to run when a new listing goes live, when a price is changed, when a listing status is changed to under contract, when a listing is marked as sold or leased, or when a listing is archived or withdrawn. So an example that you could use here is you could set up an automated workflow to run when a price is changed on a listing. And here you could set it to send an SMS or an email to everybody that's interested in a specific listing to alert them when a price has changed on that listing. And this will all happen automatically as soon as the price is changed in the listing. You won't need to then go into the contacts database and send out anything. It'll all happen automatically. The same thing goes for if it's under contract or sold as leased. You may want to send everybody that's been interested in a specific listing a message that it's gone under contract in case they want to place an offer too, on the off chance that that contract falls through, and then you've got other contracts lined up ready to go. The next trigger category is inspections. So here you can set the automated workflow to run when a new inspection time is created, when an inspection time has been deleted, or after an inspection has been completed. So say for instance, you may want to send an email out to everybody that's attended an inspection as soon as that inspection is completed, or you could even use this automated workflow to send a vendor report to your vendor as soon as an inspection time has been completed. So what this will mean is that as soon as the time has been completed, within a couple of minutes, Mantis Property will automatically prepare a report showing number of people that have attended that inspection and what their comments were, but hiding the names of the people. And it will send that report straight to the vendor, and you can also get it to send to the salesperson as well. So that saves the salesperson having to go back and collate all that data together, create a vendor report, and then send it out. As you can imagine, if you have a lot of inspection times lined up for a Saturday, Mantis Property can do all that hard work for you automatically while you just go from inspection to inspection, checking people in and getting their feedback. Finally, the last trigger category is the contracts. So here you can get an automated workflow to run as soon as a new contract has been created. So for instance, you may want to set a task for someone in the office to get the ball rolling on the legals for a contract as soon as a new contract has been created in the system. You can also set it to alert people when the contract due date becomes overdue. So say for instance, their finance has gone overdue, or their unconditional dates for building and pest has gone overdue and it hasn't been marked as completed. A deposit may have been received, finance has been approved, a contract goes unconditional, a contract is settled, a contract has been cancelled, or a contract has been deleted from the system. So these are all triggers to do with the contracts that you can get it to do anything. You can get it to send emails, set up tasks, send SMSs, or whatever you want to do. Now, we're always adding new trigger categories and new triggers to the automated workflow system. So if you have any suggestions here on what you'd like to see as a trigger for an automated workflow, feel free to contact us and we'll be sure to add that in for you.